If you ever felt like you're stuck or like fat loss just isn't working, there's a good chance your body was already making progress. I love that word. You just didn't know what signs to look for, or worse, you mistook them for setbacks. So I'm going to share 15 real signs that fat loss is happening, starting with some of the weirdest and less common ones, and then building to the biggest, most obvious signs that a lot of people still miss. That way you'll know what to look for and then feel encouraged to stick with it, even when the going gets tough. Number 15, if you like the old Letterman countdown here. Number 15, this first sign only shows up in a small group of people, but when it does, it can really catch people off guard. That's because you start burning fat and then your cells release stored pollutants, a lot of them, toxins, even heavy metals that have built up over the years, and they're stored in your fat cells. And once these hit your bloodstream, you can actually start to see the effects in your skin. There's up to a 300% increase in toxins in the blood for every couple of pounds that you lose. Your skin takes the hit because your liver gets overwhelmed and your skin is the backup detoxifier. It's one of 7 in your body. So that means breakouts, itching, maybe some random rashes. The skin can, for others, actually clear up in a way, like there's a skin change, less redness, fewer flare-ups. So it can swing either direction. But that is sign number 1, that there is a weird sign number 1, that fat is finally breaking down. Sign number 14. When your body starts burning fat, it also starts flushing water. This is actually what starts in the first week, 2 weeks of you losing weight. It's usually water. The cells are shrinking. And it also starts flushing that water out. And with all the fluid leaving the body, something else disappears, saliva. And so people start waking up. The mouth is more dry, needing more water in between meals. Cravings for needing to chew gum more regularly, or maybe you haven't had in a while. I just experienced this one recently. And just to feel that normalcy. And I was craving gum, like I haven't craved gum in a long time. Well, I had amped a little weight loss fasting period back up. Water starts shifting in the body. The cells start to shrink. Water is released. If that's you and you're craving a lot more water during the day, it's a good sign. Sign number 13 shows up in the gym. When you first switch from sugar burner mode to fat burner mode, your workouts can take a hit. You might have less endurance, a little slower recovery potentially. You could feel like you've lost some progress, but give it a little bit of time. Once your body adapts to the new fuel source, it starts pulling from those fat stores, and that holds 10 times more energy than sugar. That means more stamina longer term in the gym or with your endurance, and also bouncing back faster between sessions. If you've already been hitting the gym, watch out for that one. Sign number 12 also closely ties in, right, with previous signs, but you're sweating more easily in the gym. And that water is starting to come out through the skin, right? Kind of ties it all together a little bit. When you're tapping into your fat loss stores, you generate more internal heat. Your body compensates by starting to sweat sooner, especially during workouts or maybe just like at work or at other uncommon times. That early sweat helps regulate your core temperature, and it extends your endurance by cooling off your body. But then it also leaves you drenched with sweat faster and maybe unpleasant smells, right? But you're detoxing those chemicals out, more water, sweat starts to change. You're losing fat. Sign number 11. Another sign that you're losing fat is feeling colder, okay? Kind of the opposite end of sweating. So not maybe in the gym or when you're doing working out or in a stressful situation, But even at temperatures that you used to feel more comfortable in, I get this one quite a bit. Fat acts like insulation, and you start burning it up, and you're changing your fuel sources, and the viscosity of your blood is changing because there's less sugar in it, and there's less volume to it because water is shifting. And so that starts to mess with the temperature of your body. And then as you lose more fat, your body holds on to less heat, especially in your hands and your feet. At the same time, your metabolism starts to make a shift. When you are eating less and you're burning more, your body tries to conserve energy. And that includes dialing down heat production. So some people notice that temperature swings, warm one moment, but then freezing the next. You're tapping into fat burning mode. Sign number 10. This one shows up in your digestive system. When you start burning fat, your body doesn't change fuels. It also changes, not just fuels, it also changes enzymes. Gut bacteria start changing. How it processes what you eat. That means your digestion can get unpredictable or just changes. Some people, it's maybe some constipation. For other people, it's things are getting faster. It's the opposite. It could flip back and forth for a few weeks. But when you think about new enzymes, new gut bacteria, getting rid of the bad, building more of the new, this is your gut recalibrating to handle more fat, more toxins that are being released from that fat, fewer carbohydrates, feeding the wrong bacteria. It's a very different environment in there. About half of the people who lose weight report experiencing this sign right here, number 10, okay? So let's go to number 9. Number 9 shows up at nighttime, sometimes all night. When your body starts burning fat, you experience a cascade of effects. Blood sugar stabilizes. Cortisol settles down. Certain brain chemicals like dopamine and GABA start to balance back out. That leads to better sleep over time. But in the beginning, it can do the opposite. Some people feel wired at bedtime. Others wake up at 3 a.m. and can't fall back asleep. I'm more of like it'll mess with my bedtime a bit when I'm in fat burning mode. I'm a little more amped up at the end of the day. It's not true insomnia. It's just part of the process of becoming a fat burner. Now, once things level out, kind of get over initial humps, most people sleep deeper, sleep longer, and then wake up more rested. Sign number 8 that you're burning fat. It's a surprising side effect that most people don't anticipate, but like we just discussed, when your body starts burning fat, it flushes out water. It's got excess water from the cells must go out, and then the cell shrinks, and now we start burning up the fat. But with the water that goes out goes your electrolytes, especially magnesium, sodium, and potassium. When those get too low, you can start to feel it in your muscles, maybe a little twitch around your eye. You ever get that one? Sudden tight pulls on your calves, or maybe just like when you turn your foot a certain way or get your foot in a certain position, a little bit of cramping in the feet. It's usually at nighttime. It could be any time during the day, middle of a workout. It's another very common time as well. And it's your body saying, I need more minerals. But it's also saying it's burning fat. So to fix it, add a pinch of a quality salt to your water, a mined salt, a Utah salt, a Himalayan salt. Add a pinch of that to your water. I use electrolytes that already have that type of salt in it. You could try that. Eat more potassium-rich foods, leafy greens, avocados. Those are real good with potassium. We're super deficient in potassium. Take a magnesium supplement. You can add it in before bed, especially when that's causing the cramping. But if you're dealing with it, it's one of those 3 that you need more of, or all of them. For most people, it's not enough to make it stop within a day or 2. You need to be very consistent with that. But you're burning fat. Sign number 7. Your number 7 is one of the biggest turning points in the whole process of losing fat. At the start of your fat loss journey, energy might dip a little bit. It's changing. Just feel, maybe it's headachy, maybe it's crabby, but the energy is shifting. Right? And it might dip, it's normal, But once you adapt to burning fat as your fuel, instead of relying so heavily on sugar for your fuel, your energy levels are going to start holding steady. They're going to come up and hold steady. It's because fat is more stable of a fuel compared to sugar. It's like jet fuel burns very clean, or propane, very clean on the stovetop, versus diesel. That's what sugar burns like. Right? That's what it burns like. It burns longer without the ups and downs that the sugar can cause. Now, the benefit doesn't stop at the energy side of it. It impacts the brain. Ketones are a fuel that your body makes when it burns fat. And it can power your brain more efficiently than carbs and sugars. That's why you might suddenly think more clearly after a week or two being in fat burning mode and react faster. Sign number 6 tends to show up for people doing low carbohydrate diets. You're cutting out the carbs. I like to really focus on fiber still. So if you're getting fiber in and keeping those fast carbs, those processed carbs, those out, your body breaks down fat because it's getting less of that fuel, and it produces ketones. And one of them is acetone. It doesn't get used for energy. It's pushed out through your lungs and through your saliva. And that's why people notice that their breath smells different. Or maybe you can taste it in your mouth differently. That's the biggest sign. Maybe a little fruitier almost. Or could be more off-putting, like a little bit like nail polish remover, unless you like that smell. Others don't smell it necessarily, like other people might not. Sometimes, but it's the taste, right? Sharp metallic flavor in the mouth sometimes, especially in the morning when you're first waking up, or, and this is where I can notice this the most, is after fasting. Like been going for a little while and then turn things back on. Both of them come from the same place. Fat being broken down, acetone leaving the body. Sign number 5. Sign number 5 is another common keto symptom or low carbohydrate. If you're really restricting those carbohydrates, right? Low carb dieters, they often hit this rough patch, kind of catches them off guard. You've been relying on a lot of processed carbs and you start trimming that up and cutting that crap out, especially in the first week. Your body's been running on sugar for decades, and you cut those carbs, you start burning fat. Instead of those, your system has to switch fuels, and that can hit some turbulence. A little buckle up right there. And it can almost be flu-like symptoms. A little bit of nausea. I get maybe a little bit of headachiness, just a touch, or just a little fogginess going through that turbulence. It's your body's response to the withdrawals from glucose. And then now it's learning to use these ketones, these fats, for energy. So exhaustion, brain fog, irritability. It's not your excuse to be irritable. Try to be nice. You might get headaches, nausea, the cramping. It's all part of that transition. Now, fortunately, in most cases, the symptoms will clear up in a week or two. Adding in proper electrolytes is an easy way to curb a lot of that happening. Sign number 4. Number 4 is one of the first steps and first signs that people notice, even if the scale hasn't budged. When you start burning fat, your body begins to shrink. And this could arguably be number 1, and I'll tie it back into number 1. Your waist, your hips, your thighs, as a result, the clothes that used to be snug start fitting more loose. Inches, centimeters, millimeters in some cases. Belts need new notches. Something else also happens though. You look in the mirror and you might notice that the faint line where your shoulder curves, right in here, a little more shape, a little more definition in the arms. A lot of us, just maybe a little more trim in the face. maybe even like a slight outline of your ab when you flex, that muscles just starts to peek through a little bit because that fat that was covering it up finally starts getting out of the way. More on this one in a second, okay? But be just looking for those subtle signs of just slight thinning. Sign number 3. So we're down to the top 3, the most common signs that you're losing fat. Number 3 is exciting. Like we discussed, when your body switches to fat for fuel, it taps into massive energy reserves. You are, and I'm not calling you a tanker, but you're a gas tanker, a lot of us, carrying all kinds of fuel in the back out of gas on the edge of the highway. Imagine the irony of that, right? We're exhausted, yet we have all this excess fat and fuel, but we can't tap into it. But as soon as you turn on fat burning mode, that steady fuel supply that you have in the back can start feeding the engine and off you go. Starts shutting down hunger, starts shutting down those afternoon crashes, or snacking just to make it through the day, or energy drinks just to make it through the day. And it's your hunger hormones, especially ghrelin, which is the little gremlin in you that tells you to eat. It starts to drop. And that cravings that used to control your day start to vanish. So pay attention to those, once you get a couple weeks in, to really trimming things up, eating on the meal plans that I teach you to eat, you'll start to notice the curbing in those cravings for the snacking and for your cravings throughout the day, and that energy is just steady and strong. Sign number 2. We already touched on it. Shows up fast, but when your body burns through stored glycogen, this is the energy stored up in your muscle and in your liver, when that gets instantly burned up, which is going to be the first that burns up, that's why I always teach you weight loss starts in the liver. Healthy liver starts burning fat. This is where it begins. Then it's going to get used up in your muscle. That's through movement. So liver cleansing and movement are huge keys. But these two, when that glycogen burns up, it releases water, a lot of it. This means you're thirstier than usual and you're going to go to the bathroom a lot more. So I teach half your body weight in ounces of water on a daily basis, especially during these first 2 weeks. One, you're going to get a lot more exercise going to the bathroom so much, but we've got to follow this pattern where you're losing intentionally a lot because there's a shift in the molecules inside of your muscles, the chemistry that's going on in there. In the first week of fast or lower carbohydrate diets or fasting side of things, some people, they urinate almost as much as a gallon or more per day. Think about that. So we want to watch how much we're losing. It should be white throughout the day. You want a lot of water coming in, and you also might notice that it smells different, okay? A little gross, but maybe a sweeter smell, you get a whiff there, or fruitier. Even a little bit of that nail polish remover smell. There can be a change right there. Some cloudiness to it. That same acetone can show up, on the breath, but also leaving your body in the urine. So if you catch a whiff, don't let it be alarming, but it's a sign that you're headed in the right direction. You are burning up fat, lots of toxicity. The liver is now flushing out. Fat is flushing out. Glycogen's on the move and water is moving. So replenish a lot of it, help support that liver along the way. Let's go to number 1. Finally, the number 1 sign that you're losing fat is, of course, the most obvious, but it's also the most misunderstood and abused one. And that's the number on the scale going down, okay? Now, I want to give some context to this. It's the first thing most people look for. And it often can happen quickly because you move water weight so fast. You can shift water a couple pounds each day, which means it could go up a little bit each day or it could go down a little bit each day. Water is changing and shifting. And it can be a sign of fat loss when that scale is dropping. But early on, in the beginning, like I said, the water weight is usually what's changing. The real fat loss comes about 7 to 10 days in at least. For some people, it's the 2-week mark. About 1 to 2 pounds per week, once your body is fully in fat burning mode, is what you'll lose. It's why I help you focus on inches first. A pound of fat looks like this. A pound of muscle looks like this. There's a massive size difference, but they weigh the same. So you could be transforming from this to this, and inches will change, but the scale would say the same thing. And keep in mind at first, water can shift, and if you feel like you're stuck, you can use some of the other techniques that I teach on moving water, or watch my videos, I can post it below, on touching base on how do you get unstuck. If you get stuck with things, it's usually moving the water, okay? If you stall out or you bounce around a little bit. But as long as the number over time, you got to give it more time. That's why I don't like diets and programs, short-term thinking, because it takes you 2 weeks just usually to get into full-on fat burning mode, and then you're losing 1 to 2 pounds per week. But as long as over time it's slowly trending downward, and some of you go a little faster than others. That's why I don't want you to compare yourself to others. I just want you to make progress, not perfection. But watch those inches, understand the water, and look for these 15 signs. If you've started losing weight, especially if it's coming off fast, you may have noticed another thing that starts to happen. Your skin isn't bouncing back the way that you had hoped. Maybe the way you looked when you were a smaller version of yourself. Maybe a little more loose, maybe a little more saggy, maybe a little weathered or tired, a little aged. Some of the most common side effects of fat loss, but it takes rejuvenation, especially after the age of 50. But the earlier that you take action and understand how to give your skin the things that it needs, the better results that you'll get. As you lose weight, you're starting to feel good, you're losing weight, you're looking good, but we want your skin to look good as well. So I'm going to link the next video here for you, where I'll walk you through 10 proven ways to tighten your skin naturally, without surgeries, without pills, without wasting time on any gimmicks. And I'll even share a surprising method that was actually invented by NASA to help out that skin. So click here to watch that next, and I'll see you over there.